Hello friends, welcome to Dictionary Tutorials. In this video, I am going to discuss about what process states in operating system are. So let's see now. Process states. Process state is a state at which describes its status. And if a user needs to perform any kind of operation, the kernel or operating system should execute some number of processes to complete any kind of operation which is requested by the user. Under execution of process, it changes its status step by step. In order to understand about each status of the process which is under execution, process states are introduced. So, a process can be at one of these states in its execution procedure. So there are 5 kind of process states: new, ready, running, waiting, and terminated. These are the process states. And you can note these all points to come to know what exactly each process state meant for. Now let us understand in detail about each process state and how these status of the process will be changed. Let's see now. There are 2 kinds of modes: non-preemptive and preemptive, and 3 kinds of schedulers: long-term scheduler, short-term scheduler, and medium-term scheduler. Based on these 3 kind of schedulers, I have divided this process states concept into 3 cases. So let's discuss about the first case. Firstly, new state. New state. New state is the starting state of the process execution. Let's take an example. Uh, when we write a C program, that program will be stored in secondary memory. That means it is the starting stage of the process execution. And next, coming to ready state. Initially, the programs or applications or processes are stored in secondary memory. The processes or programs should be taken out from the secondary memory and put into the RAM, random access memory. That action will be taken by the long-term scheduler. By using long-term scheduler, the processes or programs which are at secondary memory will be taken to ready state for its process execution. And in the RAM, the processes are there in the ready state. And next, coming to running state. At running state, the process is going to be executed. So the processes are scheduled or dispatched to the CPU from the RAM to the CPU for this execution. The processes are at RAM only, but the status of the process is changed to ready to running. And at CPU, so many instructions are there for execution of a process. After completion of all those instructions, the process gets executed and it completes its execution and taken to terminated state. At terminated state, the process gets totally executed, and whatever the memory allocated for any process in RAM, that memory also get deallocated at this terminated state. It means it is the completion state of the process execution. And this is one cycle. Here the non-preemptive definition is: in this mode a process will be executed by CPU and get terminated without any disturbances. Here we need to know the point called disturbances. Disturbances in the sense, if a process get allocated to the CPU unless it completes its execution, the another process is not allowed to CPU for its execution. After completion of the any process and termination of any process execution, another process is not allowed to CPU for its execution. That is the non-preemptive mode. So a process is entered into ready state and entered into running state and completes its execution and get terminated in the terminated state. This is one cycle. This is the first cycle of process execution. Here the scheduler we used is long-term scheduler and the mode we used is non-preemptive mode. And let's discuss about the second case. What is that second case? What is the second scheduler and what is the second mode? Let's see now. Here the second case is at running state, the CPU executing a process now. If a high priority process means, here the mode used is preemptive mode. Preemptive mode means with disturbances. I discussed non-preemptive mode without disturbances, but in preemptive mode with disturbances. Disturbances in the sense, if a high priority process wants to get executed, then the process which is under execution in the running state gets stopped its execution, and that high priority process enters into CPU, and the process which is under execution previously, that will be sent back to ready state after completion of that high priority, that VIP process, after completion of execution of that VIP process, until unless the previous process will not enter into the CPU for its execution. After completion of that high priority process execution, then and only the previous process will be entered into the running state, and the process which is under execution previously, that will be sent back to ready state. No, that responsibility will be taken by short-term scheduler. Here the scheduler we used is short-term scheduler. The responsibility of short-term scheduler is taking the process from the running state to ready state in order to get a high priority process from the ready state to running state for its execution. After completion of the VIP process, or after completion of that high priority process execution, then and only the previous process will be again sent back to running state from the ready state. This is the second case I have discussed here. Here the scheduler we used a short-term scheduler, and the mode is preemptive mode with the disturbances. With the disturbances in the sense, a high priority process wants to get executed, then the low priority process which is under execution stops execution and get back to ready state. This is the second case, and let's discuss the third case, medium-term scheduler. Here a process is under execution in a running state. No, if that process wants to perform any kind of IO operation from the secondary memory, then that process will be sent to wait or block state, again sent back to ready state, again sent back to ready state, and another process, second process which is at ready state, will be sent to running state after completion of that VIP process, or a second process. The process which is requested the IO operation will be sent to running state again, and after completion of that execution gets into terminated state. And here if so many processes wants to perform IO operation, so many process wants to perform IO operation, this wait or block state will maybe gets blocked. This is also a kind of RAM. This is also a kind of RAM. So whatever the process wants to perform IO operation, that process will be sent to wait or block state. So many processes are there in wait or block state, then that wait or block state will be maybe blocked. So that's why whatever the process are there in wait or block state will be sent to suspend wait state to avoid the blocking of the wait or block state. This is the first case in this third case, and let's discuss the second case. This ready state is there now. This is also a kind of RAM. No, if so many process wants to get executed from the new state to ready state, this ready state also may be blocked. So that's why the process will be sent to suspend ready state to avoid blocking of the ready state. And here suspend wait state to suspend ready state, directly the process will be sent to here. If the wait or block state is doesn't free for long time, the process which are at suspend wait state directly sent to suspend ready state, from the suspend ready state to ready state, ready to running, and gets complete its execution and gets terminated in the terminated state. And this is the overall structure of the process state cycle. Here the modes are preemptive, non-preemptive, and schedulers are long-term scheduler, short-term scheduler, and medium-term schedulers. Three schedulers are there. I discussed the process state cycle in three cases, and that's it for this session. Thank you.